Hello, is it visible in all the pages? Please check. माझ्याकडे तिथलं दिसतं. Okay. Okay, how many viewers are there? 4 viewers. Hello, good evening all. There are 5 viewers so far. So, okay, let's start. Good evening all. We sincerely regret the delay which has happened just now because of some technical issues. My name is Dhananjay Jadhav. I am a cost accountant and I am the coach for the first session of Excel in this series to improve the soft skills and hard skills in young CMAs and CMA students. So let's start the session. So the session will be covering initial aspects of Microsoft Excel. Okay, so I hope you are able to see my screen. So welcome all. So Excel is an important software for any finance professional, especially for CMAs who are deeply involved in various analysis of many organizations pertaining to cost, pertaining to sales, and many other calculations which generally management wants to know about the business, about the economy, and about the overall industry. So while doing that analysis, we have to do various calculations, and to make the customized calculations, we largely need Microsoft Excel, the software. And I have been in industry like for 14 years, so I have been using this software extensively. And what I learned in these years, that Excel and the other skills on which we will implement our cost accountancy and management accountancy knowledge, those are equally important and we have to learn. So because I interview students and professionals, and there I realize that we really need to focus on this aspect, Excel, because if we don't know the Excel, definitely our calculations and analysis will be taking more time, and if the decisions are delayed, definitely it impacts the overall effectiveness of the decision. And we take pride in saying that in all the business decision, every behind every successful business decisions, there is a CMA involved. So while in getting this involvement, we have to be efficient, and to bring that efficiency, we need efficient softwares like Excel, and we have to learn it. So this is the index of today's session. I hope you are able to see my screen. So we'll be covering the 17 points in today's session. First is the why the Excel is important for CMAs, and what is Excel basically, what is it all about. So in Microsoft Excel, basically it is a software to make calculations. When we work in industry, we have to largely work on Microsoft products like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Outlook, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, right? So Excel is a software wherein we can churn out a large amount of data, and at the same time we can have some beautiful charts, meaningful charts which give some insights to the management to get a better decision, right? So Excel is this, the screen which you are seeing right now is the Microsoft Excel software. So it typically involves like small cells. If you see, okay, so if you see it carefully, there are columns mentioned in this sheet. Okay, so this is the sheet, like uh, there are various sheets in this file, and each sheet contains various columns, numerous columns. So if you see A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so if you go straight, it will be like X, F, D. So more than 16,000 columns are there, and you can create a huge chart, really huge chart. And at the same time, there are rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How many rows are there in this sheet? 10 lakh, more than 10 lakh rows, right? So you can accommodate such a huge data in one sheet, and there can be numerous sheets in one particular Excel file. Okay, so in this software, basically there are small cells which are the basically coordinates between columns and rows. So if you see this cell, this name of the cell, you can see here G5. G means column, 5 means the row. Yeah, so here in each cell you can see that you can write some information, or you can write some numbers, correct? Okay, so in this software, basically data is stored in tabular format. Typically it can be sales entries, it can be purchase entries, it can be various expenses, some reports, attendance, right? Price list, cost list. There can be any number of or any type of data you can maintain here and use it. So this is all about the like what exactly Excel is, and now we'll go to the one by one, each step we'll go and discuss like what are the areas, what are the different types of data which we can include in the cell, what is the difference, what is the formula, what is the function, and various functions. We'll discuss few of the functions which are important for you to know at initial stage of your career, and once you understand these basics, then you can start learning. There are numerous videos available in Udemy, in many other platform. YouTube, you will get wonderful videos, free videos, you can see, go watch and learn, right? So this is the first step of your Excel, right? So we'll see that what type of data we can write in any Excel sheet. So it can be text. See, you here it is like alphabetical information, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. So this is the text, right? If you multiply this particular cell by something, it will not give you any information, it will show some error, because text cannot be multiplied by a number, right? Similarly, here it is a number, you can see that some calculation is done equal to something something. So a cell can contain number, it can contain text, it can contain date. Okay, so this is a date, basically 14th August 22. It can be a date, or it can be percentage, right? So why I'm telling you all this is, when you work on Excel data, so that time you need to see and understand that what data you are referring for consolidation or calculation, because if your understanding about the data goes wrong, then definitely it will give you wrong results. So it is very fundamental requirement that you should understand the inputs. Many a times, like we get some data from companies ERP softwares, it can be ban, SAP, Oracle. So there are softwares, and we get the data from that software, and then based on that transactional data, we do some analysis and create some meaningful insights. So while doing that, if the, for example, if you see that numbers are there, but if these numbers are mentioned in text format in the Excel file, then your calculations may go wrong. If you try to look up some data, then system will not be able to find that data automatically when you are trying to search some number and actually it is a text. If that is the case, then the calculations definitely may go wrong, right? So that is why you always, while doing any calculation, you have to understand that what type of data is this, and then accordingly you have to do the further calculations. If you see that the data is not in the required format, then you have to take a pause, bring the data in required format, and then make the change, and then bring the calculations, basically, right? So you always have to check that what type of data is this which you are processing. So, and in this Excel, these are like small uh, cells you can write anything, and also you can create some paragraph, right? But typically Excel is used for calculations, so it is not advisable to just use Excel for text purpose, right? So when you get a data and you have to extract some information from the data, right? So there are some functions and formulas uh, we have to use in Excel. So first I'll tell you the difference about the functions and formulas. Most of you must have heard that we use formulas in Excel, but there is a fundamental difference between formulas and functions. Formulas means like the regular calculations which we do. Say for example, here I have written 4 and like I have written 5 here, and I want to do the multiplication of this. So this minus this multiplication this, right? So 4 multiplied by 5 equal to 20. So this is a regular calculation which we generally see in the in our regular mathematics. But when you have to do larger calculations, right? So that time in case of larger calculations you cannot use these formulas because it will be quite inconvenient for you. Okay, so that is why what we need to do is what Excel has done is they have provided us some shortcuts, some functions they have provided. So for example, you have like here material 1. Okay, I'm just dragging this. Material 7. Okay, so these are like 50 quantities, 30 quantities, 20, 50 quantities, 20 quantities, 10 quantities, 60 and 70. Okay, so when you do actual calculation like this plus this plus this plus this, okay, it will give you a result, right? 290, correct? But if you want to do it faster, Excel has given benefit of functions. So you can simply use, instead of writing all this, so okay, you can simply write sum and then select all the cells. Okay, so equal to sum bracket start, and then what I did is I wrote H5 colon H11. Okay, this is the H11, right? This is 11 number row and H column, bracket close, and then we enter, we get the same result. See, if you have to type this, if at all you forget to link a specific cell, because see, when we go into the industry there are numerous rows. Many a times you will see that you have to deal with like 1 lakh rows, 1,80,000 rows, something like that. So you cannot do this plus 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 all the time. It will definitely make the activity cumbersome. So Excel has developed this wonderful way of doing some calculations. They have given some functions. So this is like SUM, and function always includes bracket. So these are the bracket or parenthesis we can say. Okay, so this is how you can see that this is a plus 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 we have done. It is formula. This is normally we use in mathematics, whereas this is function. Okay, so this is the difference between function and formula. By using function you can make the calculations easier, and there are numerous functions available. See, if you see the index, these are all, see whatever words I have written here, left, right, mid, line, search, these are all functions. So I'll be telling you what are the basic functions available in Excel, which generally you should know while starting the Excel knowledge. So these are basically functions here. Okay, so I hope you understood the difference between formula and function. Okay, so we'll go to the next part, that is now we'll start the functions. You understood that there are different, what are the types of sales data, so that you saw. You also saw the formula and function. Now we are going to the next part, actually looking at how the functions are used. Okay, so we'll go to the extract here. Okay, these are like material 1, material 2, material 3. So we know that they basically the first four alphabets, or maybe for first four characters, M, A, T, and then space. These four characters are constant, right? And maybe you don't want that particular common thing in your calculation. Maybe you want to show the data in shorter or something like that. Then you have to take out the data from this. See, try to understand. You generally will have a huge data in your hand, and there we have to use these functions, because typically handling the small data, you will not have to use the functions a lot, right? Because it is easier to do it manually and close it there and there itself, right? But when typically we handle the large data, that is why we really need the functions. Okay, so we'll understand the function here. So we saw sum, this function first. Another is like we want to see if we want to take out some data in a cell, so we can use left, right, mid function. So what I'm doing is, first I'm writing left bracket start, and then see here, you can see that bracket start and then text and then comma and then number characters and then bracket close. It means when you have to use left formula, you have to select the text on which you want to implement this particular function. So I want to implement this function on this data. Okay, and then I'm talking about the specific left function. Okay, this is not a random name, it is actually a function in Excel. That is why we are able to use it. If you type something else, it may not give the result, right? We have to use the functions and its spelling correctly, then only it will work, otherwise it will show error. Okay, so left. So what we are doing is, we selected this cell and I want two alphabets of this particular cell. Okay, bracket complete. So it gave me two alphabets of this cell, M, A. Okay, so this is left. So we applied it. Suppose we have to use right function. It is actually a function in Excel. So we are typing here right bracket start. We selected the cell and we want only last rightmost one character we need. Okay, so here you can simply drag it. See here, when you take the cursor here, you can see that the symbol of the cursor has changed. Okay, once this is changed, you can click on the mouse and then drag it. So when you drag it, that time the same function gets copied the next cell. Okay, so what we did is we simply selected and then we dragged it. Suppose we double click it, so it will take the reference of the nearest column and accordingly it will keep on copying to the last point. So this is how it happened. Okay, so what it did, what we do by using this right function is, you can see that right, okay, whatever we type here, you can see that it can also be seen here in the address bar. Right bracket start F5. F5 is the reference of this particular cell. Okay, and then we only want to see one rightmost one character. So rightmost is like this only. So when we drag here, so here in this particular cell, rightmost character is 3. Okay, so we only selected. If we would have selected like 4 characters, then it would have shown 1, then this 3, then just before the 3 there is a space, and then before that there is a T, and then before that there is A. So these are the full alphabets started from right. So that is why when we use this formula, right bracket F7 comma 4 bracket complete, so that time this is the output. You may think that there are why do we need such formula, left, right? I'll tell you simple example. So for example, you're working with Colgate, and they manufacture various varieties of toothbrush, and then the data which you get is typically the material name and then the quantity is sold. So it can be like Colgate Sibaka, Colgate Super Freshener, Colgate Morning, something like that. There can be various variants of a product. So you know that you don't want that Colgate word while doing the analysis, because we know that it is everywhere in the all the sheets. So that time you may want to hide that particular word from the calculation, so that the data is small, instead of repeating the same word again and again in all product. So what you will have to do is you will have to select the data from that particular cell such a way that only the unique information is taken out and the repetition is like kept there only. So there are many such instances where you have to take out the data from the cell. So I'll share few more examples, like after this session I'll also share some questionnaire on our social media pages, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, or on Facebook, and we'll share some question. You please respond to that also. There you will understand that there are numerous applications of the software as you start dealing with complex data. Okay, so this is the right function. You saw that how right function operates if you want like four numbers from the left. Okay, from left, MAT space. So you can simply copy here. So every time like it will be basically as you change the function, automatically the result changes. Similarly you can use mid formula, equal to mid, right, equal to mid. Okay, so equal to mid, and I am again using the same reference, clicked here. Okay, in this text you can take help of the hint given by Excel here. Typically when we write the formulas or basically functions, that time it gives the way how the function is to be written. So we have to write the function in the same way, then only it will give the result, right? So we are just explaining Excel that what data exactly we require, but this is a norm how we have to communicate to Excel. So I want to take out some data from the middle of this particular word. Okay, so I'll tell you some examples, like if you have seen some FMCG packaging. So for example you buy some chips, right, chips, wafers. So that time many cases you see that there is a batch number given in the product, in the on the product, it is the batch number is written, and it is also written that please refer the first word of the batch number. If it is A, it means it is manufactured at this facility of Gurgaon. If the batch number is B, then please refer this address. So with reference to the batch number, they give us the information of where the product is actually manufactured. You must have seen, observed this thing. So in such cases, when you have to take out certain word or alphabet or maybe some information in this from the cell and accordingly derive some calculation, so that time you will have to use such formulas. And here by using mid function, what we are doing is we are trying to take out the this some alphabet which is already there in the cell, but not at the left or at the right, it is somewhere in the middle. So what we are doing is we are using this formula, equal to mid, bracket start, F5, this is the cell number on which we have to work on, and then start number. The start number means from which alphabet or from which character we have to start the answer. So suppose I want this third alphabet from this particular cell. So what I'll do is mid bracket start F5, and then start number I want from the third. My start number is 3, MAT. T is the third character. So from third I want, and how many alphabets I want? I want 2. Okay, and then bracket start. So what he will do is T and space. Okay, T, this is the third alphabet in this cell, and then space. Suppose I want 3 alphabets, then it will show T plus T and space. Okay, so this is how this mid function can be used. So left, right, mid, these functions are used to take out a data from a specific cell. If you use left, it will start referring the alphabets from left, and you just have to give how many alphabets you want or how many characters you want. So if you write 4, then it will show 4. If you write like 3, it will show 3. If you write 2, it will like show only MA, right? So this is how it is changing. So likewise, right also works the same way. When you use right function, that time it start referring the data in the cell from the right. Okay, so you have said that I want 4 characters, number characters. See, you can see, I'm not sure if you are able to see this small this thing, small words here. So if I want to see 4 characters, so it will start selecting the 4 characters from the right. So from the end, 1, then space, then T, and then A. So this is how right function works. Middle is like from that particular cell, in between you have to take out some data, then you can use mid function. Also sometimes if you want to take out, if you want to see that what is the length of the cell, how many characters are there in the cell. Okay, so while using these formulas innovatively, you have to sometimes understand like how big the cell is, and then you can give the exact number. So you can also use len function, that is typically used for length. Okay, you just give reference of that cell and then bracket complete, enter. It says 5, it means there are 5 characters in this cell. Okay, I'm just copying it here, right? So this is the len function. So to take out a data from a cell, we can use left, we can use right, mid, and then also we can see the len. If you want to search a specific data, okay, from the cell, then you can also use search function. Okay, so for example, I work with Sula Vineyards, so our finished goods are typically FG and then K and then some SHR, okay, and then P, okay, and then okay. So for example, this is the code. Okay, I am giving you a real life example here how these functions are used. Okay, so this is the code which we have used for a specific product which Sula Vineyards manufacture, and there are numerous codes. We have more than 200 various products. So if we want to take out the sales of each product, right, so that time, like, to summarize all this information, it will manually, it will take me huge time, right? So this is the one example. If the product is not FG, it is RM, okay, RM, and then okay. So in this coding which we typically use practically in our company, that time the first 2 codes are representing the type of the material. So if it is FG, first 2 alphabets are FG, then the material code is FG, and accordingly its inventory and then other movements, consumption, we have to consider in FG category. In this case, if it is RM, but this is how we have categorized. Many organizations do like that. So in such case, if I want to see, okay, I have taken it down. So if I want to see that whether that particular code is, and there are like numerous codes. This is like FG, this is for Karnataka, this is Shiraz, one type of grape, okay, and this is PP for pint, it is a size of a product, right? So if I say that I want left and then two alphabets and then click, so it will automatically give me whether it is FG or RM, correct? So this is a like real-time example I showed you like how this can be used. Similarly, if I want to use mid, so I can just see the what is the third alphabet, right? Third alphabet is typically the manufacturing facility which we use, okay? So this is how we practically use these formulas in our calculations, so that we can understand and summarize the data quickly, okay? So this is just one example of how data can be fetched from an Excel cell, okay? So this is, we talked about the right, left, mid, lane, and search also can be used. I forgot to inform you, search is the function when we have to actually search a specific character from that particular cell. So suppose if I want to search where the P character is there, SEARCH, search, I want to search P character, okay? Always like when we add an alphabet in the function, it has to be there in double inverted commas, always keep in mind. This is comma and the cell reference, okay? So enter. So with this formula, Excel told me that what I was exactly searching for is the P. This particular alphabet is the 7th alphabet in that particular cell. So if you count F, G, K, S, H, R, P, so this is like 7th alphabet. If I want to search K, okay, in this particular cell, and then enter, so K is the 3rd alphabet in this cell, okay? So typically this can be used to identify a specific information or an indication given in the cell. So we can just give search and then that particular alphabet and search from the cell. So this is how a search formula can be used, and there can be, I'll definitely share a few more examples where these formulas can be used. At present, these are like a basic understanding I'm trying to give you, so that you just understand and appreciate how the formulas work, and the real time usage and examples can be numerous. So we saw right, left, mid, lane, search, mean and max function, okay? So for example, okay, I have taken another data. So we have some name of the students. These are hypothetical names, not relating to CMA students, okay? So these are the names and these are the marks which they got, okay? So I want to find out what is the highest mark obtained by any student. Like these are the students which appeared in this exam and they got the result. So there is a specific function equal to max, because see, if you try to go and search it manually, then definitely it will take longer time and sometimes the result may go wrong. So there is a function available in Excel equal to max, okay, max, then bracket start, and what I did is I used the cursor and I selected the entire range and then bracket closed, okay? So what does it mean? It is showing that 340 is the highest number in the given range. So I have pressed F2 to open the cell, or I can also click here to open the cell, and there I can see that in this max between this particular range, it shows the highest number. Similarly, it can be min. If I want to see the minimum number which are achieved by any student in this examination, so the function is min, and then I selected this particular range and then bracket closed or enter. Then it shows that 189 is the lowest number for this particular student. These are the lowest number. Okay, so where can we use this? So this is one of the examples, right? Similarly, if you are into for example share market, and then you are tracking prices of the shares, so you can if you try to see that and you have the list of fluctuation in the share price, so you want to see what is the high and low of the day, right? So you will simply apply this formula to the range of information you have, and you will simply get high and low or max and min of any that particular share, right? So usage can be like sky is the limit. Excel is such a software that you keep on using innovatively, it will give you wonderful results. Excel cannot be like simply you mug it and then you become an master in it. It is not like that. More you use it, more innovatively you use it, and it will give you wonderful result. It will definitely share your task a lot, right? So I hope you understood this particular concept, and I am also seeing chats or your comments on the Facebook live, that video. So in case you have any question or not understood anything, you please add comment in the live video, so that I can read it and answer it, because this is a kind of one-way communication which is happening right now. So in case you have any any query, you please write in the comment section of this video, and I'll try to respond it as soon as possible. Okay, great. So we'll go to the next function, is the referencing of cells with dollar. Okay, so when we do a large calculation, see, typically Excel is used to handle large amount of data, right? If you want to create an invoice, small invoice, you go to a restaurant and you order like multiple products, like, okay, and when you do a summation, okay, calculations, so that time the data is like small, you can do it manually. But like when you have the download of all the invoices you generated in that particular day, throughout the day, so in that case the data will be huge, and then you have to use these Excel tricks or Excel functions. So now we are talking about the referencing cells. So for example, you have a chart, okay, I'm just creating a chart, product A, product B, product C, product D. Okay, this is the price: 100, 200, 600, 150. Okay, so suppose if you want to change the prices by a certain number, say for example, okay, plus multiplied by 1.2. so basically I am adding this adding the 20%. so for example, this is a cost, okay, and then margin, okay, this is 20% for example, this plus this multiplied by this. Okay, so what I am doing is I am adding 20% margin. Okay, So if I don't want to add, see, because this is a repetition, right? The same information I'm writing everywhere. So instead of that, I can simply write here as margin, and then I write here 20%. Okay, you simply remove this. Okay, this. Okay, so what I have done is, I showed this particular percentage on the top of the table, and if at all I want to change it, so I just have to change one single cell. Okay, so here suppose I want to add the margin of say 15%. Okay, so automatically the calculation changes. Okay, so what I did is I mentioned here a single common cell which I will change. So typically in meetings you will see that management wants to see various scenarios, what will happen if I increase the profit maybe by 2% or 3%, right? So they want to see the impact, okay, on overall profitability, so that they can project the business properly and then also do business accordingly. Okay, so here in this case, to make the changes convenient and it is also easy to understand everybody, I have shown this particular cell on the top of it, and what I did is this plus this multiplied by this. Okay, so this is a typical calculation I'll do. Okay, but when I copy this particular cell and paste just the next row, so what happens, see, this automatically changed. Okay, so when I copied here E8, E8 and E5, this copied and pasted here. Okay, control C means copy and control V means paste. Okay, so this is automatically changed from E8, E8 and E5, it changed to E9, E9, E6. Okay, so so if this is how you do it, then see, you can see that the references are going wrong. It is okay when you copy the cells and paste down. It is okay when the reference of this particular cell is changed. It is absolutely fine, because this is how you want to calculate, right? But you want this particular reference to remain constant. This E5 should always remain E5. This should not become E6 or E7 or E8. So that is why while using this referencing in Excel, you have to use dollar function. So you can see on keyboard Shift and 4, if you apply, you will get the dollar figure. So what does that mean? Dollar means you are asking to the Excel that while copying and pasting this particular formula to the next adjacent cell, don't change that particular cell. Okay, so this is a reference, I am applying dollar here. So in this case okay, in this case dollar is used just before the E, so it means that E column will not change even if you copy. Okay, so if I copy the formula here and then paste here, then if you see that, see here the blue cell is changing the reference. Okay, I am just changing here, so but because I applied dollar here, this E column remained constant. Okay, it remained constant. Similarly, if I use, instead of E, if I use dollar to 5, it means, okay, I'll just show first, this is how it gets operated. Okay, so if you can see that E column is constant wherever you copy the formula. Okay, but row is changing because row number is 5 and we have not applied the dollar function to E. So when we apply dollar function to E and 5 both, then the column reference and the row reference remains constant. Okay, you can see that E5 has not changed, it has exactly remained the E5. Okay, so This is how the referencing is done, so that when you copy a formula from one cell to another cell, that time that specific reference remains constant. So wherever you copy this formula now, right, it will not change the reference of this particular E5 cell, because you have used dollar for E mean column, as well as dollar applied to 5. It means that particular row it is constant. Wherever you have not used the dollar, then you copy the formula, it will change that reference. Okay, see, you can see that this blue cell is changed. This should have been ideally here. Okay, so when you copy, it changes. Okay, so here you can see that when we apply the referencing, that time the reference of that cell remains constant. So this is what called as referencing of a cell. Then we'll see few more formulas, few more functions: sum, count, average, and product. Okay, so see, this is another example. We saw that we can use sum function. Okay, sum function is there. So this is just addition of these many numbers, and sum means total basically. Then the next function we have to use is count. Okay, so count means it actually counts the number of cells which are occupied. So equal to count, and then I want to see how many products are there. I just selected it, bracket complete, enter. Sorry. Okay, so count. So what it is, so all the cells which contain numerical information, number. Okay, these are all numbers, right? These are all numbers, not alphabets like this product 1, product 2, product. These are all alphabets. So it will count the cells which contains numerical information. So it showed 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how count function is used. So similar function if you apply here, so that time it is showing as 0, because there is no cell which is numerical. These are alphanumerical, alphabets plus numbers. Okay, so that is why it is showing as 0. So there is another formula when you want to calculate all the cells. It can be numerical, it can be alphabetical or alphanumerical. So you just have to say count A, count A. Count A means you can count all the alphabets including numbers. Okay, so count A is like A anything. You can just see here 5. It can be applied to numbers, it can be applied to alphabetical or text information. Okay, so we saw that sum, count, counta. Okay, there are few more this thing formulas. Average. So average, as the number itself says, average means when we have to do a simple average calculation, so that time you can use this formula. So if you want to see what is the average cost of my product, okay, so you will simply say average, bracket start, and then you select all this. Okay, I am using keyboard while selecting these cells. You can also simply type C11 colon G11. Okay, so from C11, this is C column and 11 row, this is C11 to this colon is used to inform Excel that from this to this range I want to select the cells. So from C11 to G11. Okay, and then bracket close. So this is the average cost of your product. Okay, it includes various direct material, direct labor, expenses, and so on. So this is the average. Similarly, I hope I am not going too fast. In case anybody is feeling overwhelmed, please mention on the chat box. Please share the formula. Devendra Pakle, yes, I'll share this file as well as formula, and also we'll share few more formulas and we'll keep connected with you. Okay, so that was the only query from Devendra Pakle. Okay, and similarly product also we can use this particular product is a function. Basically product means multiplication. So if you want to use product function multiplication, okay, so here now can anybody uh, live on this chat in this session can tell me whether this is a function or formula? Can anybody tell? It is okay even if you tell some wrong answer, that is absolutely fine. It is the first session for Excel, so it is possible that you may get confused initially. Okay, is it a function or formula? See, as we saw some time back, so these are the regular calculations, this multiplied by this, and this is how we typically do in regular mathematics. So it is a formula, but here you have to mention like all the calculations accordingly. But when you use function, okay, so that time what will you do? Equal to product, okay, product means multiplication, so we want to do multiplication of these and this, total, sorry, equal to product total cost 190 rupees and this, okay, bracket complete. So you got the answer, right? Product, this is total cost for that particular product multiplied by total cost per unit and quantities, and here we got. So the same result can be derived by multiple ways, okay, so this is what I want to show it here. So we used a function called product. So in this product you can keep on adding multiple things. So for example, if it is quantity, okay, and it is rate, and it is unit of measurement, and then unit of measure. So quantity is, say for example 100, okay, and the unit of measurement is kg, and rate is rupees 100 per gram. So what you will have to do, and gram to kg is 1000, okay. So here manually you can do is this multiplied by this multiplied by this, okay. So you will do some calculation like this. Also in product you can use product and then this plus this comma this, so you got the same result, okay. You used formula and also you use the function, okay. So this is how you can typically use. Exactly, I got answer from Noora Sheikh, Rupali Deshmukh. Yes, it is a formula and this is a function, correct. So I think there is some lagging between which I speak and what is being broadcasted, so there is maybe some 5 seconds 8 seconds gap, okay. So this is how we can use the various functions as sum, count, counter, average, product, okay. So if you see in Excel, see, even if I am just typing C, there is a list of various functions which is shown here. So these are the actually various functions which you can use in Excel, and there are, according to my understanding, more than 8000 functions or even more, I don't know. So the gist of what I am telling here is there are numerous formulas. Not all formulas are required to you. These are typically developed using all various usage. It is possible that some scientists are also using this software and they need to do some calculation pertaining to thermodynamics. We don't know basically, so there can be some formulas pertaining to that also, right? So don't remain in that impression that you need to know all the formulas, not like that. But there are frequently used formulas for finance professionals. So you need to know, you have to search for it. We will also share file on the our page, that what are the formulas. Definitely we'll keep on teaching you about it, so that will help you enough in working of your Excel, right? So there can be numerous formulas, don't get overwhelmed, but these are the repeatedly used formulas, that's why I'm explaining. Okay, and we'll see some product. Okay, we saw product as well as now next is some product. Some product is like, this is an invoice, typically XYZ Limited, and there is material 1, and there are numerous material, for example. Okay, ten, 20, 40, 10, 50, 30, 50. Okay, these are the rates, and quantity is like 100, 200, 300, 500, 400, 300, 150. Okay, so some product, as some of you may guess why this particular function is used. So it is used to club the calculation of sum as well as product. Product means multiplication, right? So generally how do we do these calculations is like, we do a multiplication like this. Okay, this multiplied by this, and this is now value, and then total, then okay, this is now 9%, this is now again equal to this, and then total. This is typically, this is your invoice. Okay, I am not going into the technicalities of this. So instead of doing this particular calculation, if I say that you please don't have this particular column at all, because we don't want to show such a huge calculation on the face of the presentation. So what you can do is, you can simply use this formula, sum product. Sum product means what? You please multiply this. So what I did is, sum product bracket start array. Array means basically a row or a column. Okay, so we selected this particular array range. Okay, then comma, and then selected this M8 to M17, comma, L8 to L17, bracket complete. So it has given the same result. Okay, equal to this, equal to this, true. Okay, this is correct. So what I want to say here is, you can use, instead of using this particular column and these calculations, you can simply use sum product, and then give the reference of these two basically columns, and it will do the calculation of this multiplied by this, plus this multiplied by this, plus 40 multiplied by 500, plus 10 multiplied by 400, and so on. So this is how sum product works. Okay, you always need to understand that if you are not very sure how to use that particular formula, you can simply write that particular function, sum product, and then start a bracket. Automatically it will give you the idea how to use that particular function. So array 1 comma array 2 comma array 3 means you have to give different range. It can be 3, it can be 4, it can be multiple ranges. You can simply give reference of that, and then the answer is ready. Okay, so this is the sum product. Am I uh, too fast or too slow? Please let me know. I am looking at the chat box. I think Kishore Parbane sir has joined. Yeah, you can please let me know in case I am too fast or too slow, so accordingly we can manage it. So this is some product is done, and then there are some logical formulas. Okay, so logical formulas, I'll take you to another sheet. Okay, so for example, this is a data of employee ID. Yeah, okay, so before that we'll see if function. So in Excel you can give uh, in Excel you can give some instruction to Excel that if this particular thing is like this, then you please check and let me know. If it is not like that, then in such a case also please let me know. So for example, this is the product hatchback, sedan, SUV and MVV. These are type of cars, and these are the targeted sales, and these are the actual sales. Okay, so this data we have. Okay, so we have this data available. Okay, so if I want to check whether we have achieved the targeted sale or not, so in that case, instead of checking each cell one by one, I will prefer to simply give a formula that if, okay, this is a logical function, if then logical test, if this is greater than this. Okay, this is a logical test I have given, and if it is this particular test is true, then what should be shown? If it is actually is more than targeted, then according to me it is okay, so I'll say okay, right? Okay, if it is not the case, if the actual, this is blue, is not greater than C5 target, it means it is not okay for me. Okay, so I simply wrote this particular formula. If D5 is greater than C5, then okay, and if it is not the case, so here you can also see if logical test, this is a logical test, D5 greater than C5. If this is the case, then if this is true, this test is true, then write this. If it is false, then write this. So this is how the formula is to be drafted, if formula. Okay, and I can simply copy here, automatically it will change the reference, and okay, okay, not okay, it told me. Okay, so if formula is always used to give some condition. If the condition is being satisfied in that particular reference, then it will give certain result which we have to mention here. If it is false, then what is expected to be shown, that also we have to show. Okay, so this is how if function. And then sum if, will show you some example of sum if. Okay, sum ifs. Okay, so this is the data I have. I'll have to go a little fast. Employee ID, gender, age, ethnic group, and then there is a some code, whether it is new hire, region, hiring date, pay type, and then amount. Okay, so I have to do a summation. We saw sum function, right, in the initial part of this session. So it was like simply whatever data we select, they have to simply total it and show us the answer. But now we have to give some instruction, additional parameters which Excel should go and check and then get back with a result. So that time what function is used? It is sum if. Okay, so suppose here there are some hourly and some monthly people are there. So suppose I want to see hourly. Okay, so how much amount I have spent on hourly labor, and how much amount I have paid on monthly labor. Okay, so we can use sum if formula. Sum if range, so this range I have to give, wherein I want Excel to go and check. then sum if criteria, sorry, sum if this is the range wherein I want Excel to check, then the criteria, this is hourly, and then sum range. So what is to be totaled? So this is to be total. Okay, so this is the formula. So what does that for mean? I want a summation sum if this particular column contains this information, if this range, okay, this is hourly or monthly, if this range contains this particular criteria L8 hourly, if this contains hourly this particular word, then do a summation. So if you use this formula, it will show that total wherever this particular column contains hourly. Okay, so here I have applied some filters. If you total this, okay, I am just scrolling down. Okay. So it is like 38 lakhs 54,000. So this is what it is shown. This is what it is shown, 38 lakh 54,000. So this is the sum if function. Sum if means you have to do a summation. At the same time, you have to give some condition to the Excel. That condition Excel has to check and then give you, if the condition is fulfilled, then do a total. Okay, so similarly if you do this particular calculation on monthly, then you will see that monthly is also totaled. Okay, so this is how sum if function is used, sum if, right? And we can also see few more examples like sum if, and then also there is a dsum when you have to apply multiple parameters, multiple conditions you have to give. So instead of giving multiple parameters, you can simply give a reference of entire chart, and then the entire whatever criteria mentioned in the chart is verified. This is some advanced function, dsum. You need not know at this stage dsum function, but if there are multiple parameters, you can simply use this formula dsum, and then the entire database you selected the entire chart, and then you gave J1 this particular amount to be totaled, and then criteria, this is the criteria, entire this small chart. Okay, so this is how then automatically it will show. So for example, if you want to see north female greater than 40 and the new hire is blank, so it will automatically total with total the amount wherever this particular criteria is entirely fulfilled, not partially, entirely, then automatically it will calculate the sum. So as you go deep into the Excel, you will get more and more ideas and knowledge about that particular functions. We can quickly go to VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP lookup. Okay, so for example, you have this particular data and you really want to search where is the John mentioned and what is the roll number of John. Okay, so what if I want to see it manually, then what I will do, I will just keep on checking. Instead of, you can simply use VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP means vertical lookup. Okay, this is quite important function. You please learn it carefully. VLOOKUP means bracket start, looked up value. What is to be looked up? John needs to be looked up, comma, table array. You have to give array of entire table. Okay, and then column index number. Okay, so which column you want, 1 and 2. Okay, I want roll number of John, so I'll just mention second, enter second, and if it is not, then 0. Okay, so this is the roll number of John is here, and the roll number is 4453807. 4453807. So you can use this VLOOKUP function. This is vertical lookup, when you have to ensure that the range which you are selecting here, So it should be formed such a way that first column contains this particular information, John. Okay, then only it will be able to work, otherwise not. There are some advanced formulas like XLOOKUP, but it is because it is a initial session, I would suggest to focus and learn VLOOKUP first. Then maybe once you start using advanced Excel, that time you can use XLOOKUP, where you can have better results and faster results. Okay, this is vertical lookup. Similarly, you have HLOOKUP also. HLOOKUP means what? You have to look up the value uh, vertically, sorry, horizontally. HLOOKUP. Okay, so HLOOKUP, similarly, wherever we see so for example, HLOOKUP, and then this particular thing I have to search, and then where to search. Okay, and then fifth, 0. So here HLOOKUP means what I did is I want to see roll number, where to see in this chart roll number, and then once the roll number is found in this particular chart, I want fifth row, 1 2 3 4 5. So this is the fifth, Daniel. Okay, so whatever is the fifth row is there, that value it will fetch and bring it here. So the way you are searching vertically VLOOKUP, you can use HLOOKUP horizontally. Vicky Galani, please email Excel file to. Yeah, yes, Vicky will send it. This file will be available on our portal. You can download anytime. Yeah. So this is the roll number. So this is basically HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP functions which you used. Similarly, end of the month formula, and then date formula. These are like, suppose you have date, okay, today, and you have such numerous dates. Okay, so for example, let us assume that this is the transaction date. Okay, we will be exceeding the time limit a bit, another 15 minutes. Okay, these are the transaction date, 20 August 2022, and then 31st August 2022, and then okay, 20 September 2022. Okay, and this is the transaction date, and you want to see what is the what we can say due date of the, this is the basically date of date where when you swapped your credit card. Okay, so these are the transaction. Typically how credit card works, there is a period given, and then after the completion of the period, after 15 days you have to pay the bill, for example. Okay, so you will have to see what is the month end date. Okay, so end of the month, EO month is the function, bracket start. Okay, and then we selected this particular cell. Okay, and then 0. So what it will do is, okay, so what it did is, by using this particular formula, end of the month, and then date number is given, and then 0. You can also give like 1 or 2. So for example 2. Okay, so when you type end of the month, it means whatever the last date of that particular month is, it will be shown as a result of this particular formula. So you can just type like this. And also, for example, your payment date is like say 20 days after the month closure, then you can simply write here. Okay, so 20 days, so automatically you can see, you can find the targeted date. Okay, so this is the end of the month formula. Similarly, e date is also a formula. Then, like for example, if you want to add 2 months in that particular date, you will simply write here that e date, and then you will show the months, like how many months you have to go ahead. Okay, so this is how this calculation is done. Rep function, repeat function is typically used to repeat I have an example. Okay, sure. Okay, so this is like I have a chart here, and you can see that small chart which has got created, and it is helping me to identify what are the smaller values and higher values quickly, because typically when we use a data, large data, that time we, it is really difficult to read out all the numbers and then interpret and then take a decision, not like that. So typically you can use this particular function rept means repeat. Okay, so what I have done is equal to rept equal to rept, for example I said p. Okay, and then say for example 10 times. So by using this function I ask Excel to repeat p, this particular alphabet 10 times. Okay, but how this particular function, simple function, is used innovatively, you can see the formula. Rept this particular one, like standing line, rept this, so I have to repeat the standing line how many times, this divided by 10,000. Okay, so it gives me some, like, actually if you change this Arial, you will see these are the repetitions basically. Okay, so automatically a graph has got created because this particular standing line is getting repeated. Okay, though this is like innovative use of a function, how it can be used, right? So more you use innovation, definitely Excel will give you better results. This is the reft function. Transpose is what you can use. I can take a data. Okay, so for example, okay, this is the data you want to transpose. I'll make it small, transpose, and then simply select this. Okay, enter. Automatically this entire data has got rearranged in such a way that rows have become columns have become rows, right? So this is available in Excel 2019 and onwards. If you are using earlier versions, it is possible that it is not available with you, but I mean, still for your knowledge, you please refer it, so that whenever you get next version of your Excel, you will be able to use this function. It's a wonderful function. Okay, what we did is, I'll just repeat here. I'll just say transpose bracket start, and whatever chart I want to transpose, I selected the entire chart, bracket complete, and enter. I did not type anything in any other cells. Automatically it showed the transpose. Okay, this is the transport. There is a conditional formatting also, quickly I'll tell. Okay, so these are the numbers I want to show to the management, that some values are really going down or up than the others. So there is a if you go in home, conditional formatting, you can simply select color scales, and you can give color scales also. So I have selected this particular color strategy, clicked here. So highest numbers are being shown in reddish format, lowest numbers are being shown in the greenish format. Okay, so when you typically see a large number of data, numbers are like, we change the inputs, the results also change dynamically. So that time it becomes very difficult to keep a track, like what are the higher values and lower values if anything is going off. So you have to use this conditional formatting, so that you can quickly understand what are the odds. Okay, so there are many other options. You can see, you can just change the color. Also you can show bar. See, you can just let me remove clear rule from entire sheet. Okay, so here conditional formatting, you can also show bar. Okay, so here you can see that some bars have got created. Okay, because which are basically after selecting this entire range, you applied this particular uh, formatting function, and then see the bars are being shown here. Okay, so this actually helps you interpret the data quickly. Okay, so these are the conditional formatting. There are data validation rules. So for example, like you must have seen that you are updating some data online in a specific format, and some wherever, like, you have to write a numerical information. For example, you are writing some date and you start writing some alphabet there, it immediately it shows some error. So this is the conditional formatting. There are some this is the data validation. So there are some checks given in it. So while data, so for example, if I am sharing a format date of birth, okay, there is a field, okay, so I want this particular field to be, or for example I am asking this quantity, so quantity can be like 10 for example, okay, so it cannot be like 10, because then if you write 10 like this, you cannot multiply it, right? So this is like here, this is how, like first thing we saw, that you have to understand what the type of the data, okay, so this is like 10 multiplied, so we can do it, but then you have to ensure that the data who is feeding the information should not feed the information in incorrect format, okay, so that is why some validations are to be set, okay, so this is like part of advanced Excel. You will have to learn a lot to get a hands-on on this, okay, so you can alter D and L is the data validation. Also you can see the data validation somewhere here, date data validation, and then data validation. So you can give a command that this has to be date, okay, between, so for example if you are asking to feed some data, but the data should always be start date and end date, so for it should be from 1st April 2022 2021 to 31st March 2022. So if you want that this date should always be between this particular range of last financial year, so what you will do is you will go to data validation and then this thing, any data, date, start date, this, end date, this, okay. What I did is I simply clicked here and then wrote that cell's reference H15, H and then 15 row, okay. So if I write any date other than this, it will show me error, this value does not match the data validation restriction defined for this cell. So this is how you can set up some so for example August, okay, now it is accepting, okay, because this particular date is within the range of this, but if I give you today's date, it will not accept. So such kind of restrictions you can create using the data validation. You can just Google it or refer this explanation here given here. So there can be various data validations. You can also give a list, like this has to be given from this particular list only, then only it will be acceptable, otherwise not, okay. So such kind of various data validations you can apply. This is example of that. Pivot, it's a wonderful tool, one of the most powerful tools I have ever seen in Excel. This is actually a pivot table. It is basically used to summarize the data. So for example, this is a data, okay, so I want to summarize it, I want to see the what is the total quantity and all. So what I'll do is I'll simply go into the data and then pivot tables here. Yeah, in insert you can see this option is there, because like I use the shortcuts most of the time, so I couldn't find it immediately. So in insert you can see that pivot table option is there. So pivot table is used typically to summarize, okay. So it is like I clicked here, then it asked me to select the data, so I selected this data, then okay, it went to a new sheet, and then I have some options. So I can value quantity, I just clicked here, it is showing that sum value, sum of quantity, automatically it summarized that particular data, okay. In other ways I'll show you one more example in other Excel file. Okay, so for example, we are yeah, so we are referring this particular data. These are like more than 250 people, and I want to create a summary of this. So what I did is I went into insert and pivot. Okay, okay, it created a new sheet, and now it I can say that I want region wise amount. It showed me region wise amounts. See, okay, suppose I don't want region wise amounts. I want say for example I want to like pay type hourly, and so how many amount. See, this is how you can create a summary quickly. Okay, or maybe you can ethnic group, there can be ethnic group ABCD. Okay, so this is so Excel, this pivot table is used to create summaries quickly. Okay, so region also you can, instead of this you can mention region. Okay, so automatically they did all the calculations and simply showed you summary like this. So this is called as pivot table. It summarizes the data in shortest format, and it is quickly editable. You saw that I simply copied this table from one cell to another cell and then made some changes. So I have three summaries quickly available with me. It hardly took less than a minute, right? So this is how pivot table is used. There are numerous ways you can, instead of, see here you can see sum of amount, you can, instead of sum you can also show the count, average, max, mean, product, right? We formulas we saw, functions we saw, right? Standard deviation and all, right? So we can do it all, but for the sake of simplicity I am not explaining all this, but this is how a pivot is used. And yeah, beginner. And after pivot, last thing is macro. Macro is basically if we are doing repetitive calculations in Excel, exactly doing the same way, each step by step, then what you can do is you can record those steps and then re-execute. So for example, yeah, I am going to a new sheet, and then for example I am typing here I want to okay, in this sheet only. Suppose I want to go to the start cell and then insert a row. So what I'll do, I'll go to record macros. Yeah, macros here. Okay, record macros, and yeah, you have to name the macro 1. You can give a shortcut also, say control L, control U. Okay, so it will start recording the macros. What I did is I simply clicked control home and then insert one row. That's it. Stop recording. So wherever I am, if I execute control O, it will go to the, it will repeat the same action which I did. So what I did is I simply went to the first cell and first row of the sheet and then inserted a row. So same activity it is executing, right? So in this case, macro means if you are doing a repetitive activity, it can be a really big activity. But you can, by a simply one click, you can re-execute the entire activity. So typically when we get a dump from SAP or any other software, so that time formatting needs some time. So if you know that the format is quite standard and you have to do it in the same way, then you can record that particular macro and execute every time. So entire activity can be done in a like moments. It will like hardly 10-15 seconds, and entire activity which typically takes an hour, it can take 1 hour or so. It can happen really quick, right? So typically this is how macro is used. It's a big concept. Macro, you can actually write macros in VBA, but you have to learn coding for that. Yeah, so this is how all about the uh, uh, initial aspect of Excel. If you have any question, you can ask me, Otherwise, that's it from my side. This class was specifically designed for newcomers, people who don't know Excel, who should learn and start learning the Excel. And once you start learning the Excel, you will get ample data, videos on YouTube and many other platforms. You can see many courses are there, right? But you have to have that introduction about the Excel and then start learning it. And especially when you go into the industry, people expect you to know the Excel. They will not be assuming that you will need some training and then only you will start working in Excel. No, things are quite fast. You have to learn it by yourself. You can take help from Google, YouTube. You will see lot many videos, and you have to learn it. Actually take some data from chapter side. Also will arrange some quizzes that will help you to learn Excel more. Yeah, and there are some intermediate Excel and advanced Excel sessions are also lined up, so you will get some communication about those particular sessions from the chapter in the months to come. So that's it from my side. Anything, is there any query? Otherwise we can close the session. Yeah, you can send your queries to Nashik@ICMA.in. Yeah, I think there are no queries, so we are good to close this. Thank you all. Thank you for your time. You spend almost 2 hours for learning this wonderful software. Definitely, it will help you in your career. Yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you all. We can close the session.